At the back, Emma Schneider and her sister Mila Schneider, Holly Rogers, and Susanna Gaines are the starters along the back line for the Black Bears. Only two midfielders listed, including captain Hannah Bamford and Berta Speck, the international from Germany, while Emma Donovan, Abby Kramer, Julie Lossius, and Tegan Morrison, the starters at forward for the Black Bears. We'll see what formation they set up in. Appearing like a 4-2-3-1 early with Abby Kramer, the star sophomore, as the attacking striker. Here's Julie Lossius, the freshman, in her first career start. She slides it down the left side where it's the younger of the two Kramer sisters, Abby. She beats Cronin to the end line, cross to the middle, leaks all the way to the back post, and the shot is skied off the right foot of Susanna Gaines. Gaines, the right back, getting forward for the Black Bears. A revamped offense for a Maine team with loads of returners from last year's team. They struggled a year ago, 3-7-4, 1-6-2 in conference play, missing out on the postseason in America East play. But this Maine team returns 8 starters from last year's squad, returning every goal from a year ago in their offense. An offense that really was quite bad last year, scoring just 12 goals in 14 games. Well, this season, the Black Bears offense has been fantastic, averaging 2 goals per contest. It's an offense that is high-powered, led by Abby Kramer, the only player who appeared on an all-conference team a season ago for the Black Bears. Kramer was an all-rookie team member. This is Kate Bossert, the Catamount leading goal scorer. It finds the feet of Delaney Ross, and she guides it wide for Jill Brody, operating as the left wing back. Brody working on Gaines. And on the wet playing surface, Gaines able to rip it away from Brody. And the Black Bears will look to counter as Vermont tracks back. Ross pressures Gaines. Out wide it goes to Abby Kramer. Kramer with a pair of goals on the year. She scored 5 to lead the team a season ago. Her pass too tough to handle for Tegan Morrison, making her 7th straight start. And it falls to Erin Murphy. Murphy, the senior, transfer from Buffalo, coming off a combined shutout with Kylie Carafoli, as Carafoli started the game in the non-conference against Hartford, but had to leave the game with an upper body injury. Murphy came in and finished the 1-0 shutout win for the Catamounts. Foul going against Bossert, just a bit too physical with Mila Schneider. And a free kick for the Black Bears. Ross wins the header off the free ball, and now Bossert trying to hold up play. Holly Rogers dashed in front, sent it long where Murphy gobbles it up. Murphy in this Catamount defense, they've got those 3 shutouts, a pair of 1-0 wins on their schedule. 2-0, they beat Sacred Heart to open the year, and then 1-0 wins against LIU and Hartford. But in conference play, the Catamount defense has struggled, allowing 4 goals against UMass Lowell. And Murphy and the Catamount defense allowed 6 goals in the first half against Binghamton. Murphy at the bottom of the conference in goals against average at 2.1 per game. Durio puts it back up the field where Gaines wins the header. And it's Abby Kramer racing away from the Catamount captain, Durio. Good to have Durio back in the lineup after she missed the matchup with Hartford. Doherty, the left center back, bumps it away from Morrison for a Black Bear throw. Maine has won themselves a corner as it's Morrison jockeying with Doherty in the far corner. And the Black Bears with their first set piece of the day. And it is Tegan Morrison, who's got a goal and an assist on the year, setting up the opening corner. Out-swinging ball that Durio gets to at the near post. Brody trying to scamper away from Britta Speck, and she's able to do so. It's Brody showing off her pace. Needs some reinforcements. Bossert arriving. The pass just couldn't find the angle. Clearing it away, Hannah Bamford, the defensive midfielder who was defending on that set piece. Here's the left back, Emma Schneider, older sister of Mila Schneider, the center back. Oviedo takes that pass away, knocking one out, disrupting Julie Lossius as well.
Yeah, it's not too bad. At least in the tent here.
I was going to say, I bet that tent's wonderful. It's honestly
Constant for Lainey Ross. Ross, one of just a few returning starters for the Catamounts from their title-winning season a year ago. It is the 32nd straight start for the junior Ross. She played every minute of the shutout win against Hartford. Bossert receives the long ball. Wallace. She scored the game winner against the Hawks. Now looking deep. Constant and Bossert are there. Bossert on top of the netting. Kate Bossert put it over the top of Kira Kutzinski. Kutzinski, the graduate student from Germany. The Hawks, now looking deep. She has been a star for the Black Bears and their defense. Kutzinski on the season, a save percentage of 83%. The flag was up on Kate Bossert, so that chance really was coming to nothing. Just 9 goals allowed on the year for Kutzinski. That save percentage of 83, a great number. Oviedo finds Wallace and through for Bossert. Again, the flag is up on the Catamount striker. Bossert, the team leader with 5 goals, great size and strength, good speed as well. She picked up an assist last time out. Here's Schneider, Emma Schneider. Kramer tried to drop it back for Donovan. And again, the right back Gaines will take the throw in. Steady rain coming down here in Burlington. You can see the umbrellas up on the far side. Here come the Black Bears. Another jaunt forward. Oviedo got a partial clearance in. Tackle came from Ross, but it's one back. Morrison goes wide. Gaines is getting forward. She's got a left foot cross. Gets by Oviedo. Loose and Noble able to wrench one away.
That's what I mean, like I'm from Maine.
Emma Schneider plays it inside for Bamford. Popped out wide for Berta Speck. Ross cuts it out. Again, Oviedo struggles to clear it. She picked up a big knock. You can see her right leg wrapped. Had to miss most of the game against Hartford. Abby Kramer has angled out wide. Gets the cross in. Durio the header away at the near post. The Black Bears with a sustained bit of pressure. High arcing ball, and Murphy comes out to claim it before Tegan Morrison could get there. Just one shot taken so far for the Black Bears. 8 minutes gone by, but they've had the majority of the possession and the pressure to this point. There's Constant, who flicks it perfectly to Bossert. Nikki Constant, who really impressed off the bench against Hartford. A well-deserved nod in the starting lineup for her. Bamford will carry it. Oviedo closing her down. Down the line, the feed for Lossius. Cronin works it up the line towards Noble. And it is a Vermont throw-in.
That's why the tent's getting me.
Durio. Speck is able to bring it down. Right now it's Speck partnering with Bamford as the defensive midfielders for Maine. This time Oviedo is able to pick it off, and she's got her eyes up. With the pass nowhere near Noble. Kramer, one touch, able to find Emma Donovan. And now Speck carrying. Looking to feed it back through for Donovan. Doherty had the clearance. Again, Vermont struggles to bring the ball under control. It's Wallace who has a loose touch and then commits the foul. It's a Maine set piece just inside their attacking third. Holly Rogers, the one teeing it up. Rogers, one of 4 captains, a transfer from Xavier where she started her career. Has started every game this season. She scored a pair of goals and has 1 assist. Might be a bit long for a shot attempt, but she's gearing up. Does put one towards Murphy target. I think it makes sense to test Erin Murphy today, just with the bit of moisture coming down. She was beaten by a few long shots against Binghamton in that 6-goal first half by the Bearcats. It makes sense that Maine's game plan coming in would be to put shots on target. That's their first of the afternoon. Morrison pressuring Doherty. It's Ross. Skips the line to Cronin. Noble checking two. Constant. Pressure on her back. Durio. Deep intended for Bossert, and there's Oviedo scampering in to pick the ball up. It's Karen Wallace. She's got numbers off to her right, swinging it in Noble's direction. Not quite the right angle on that pass, and Kuczynski can claim it. Very interested to see today how Constant and Wallace do in the attacking midfield. I'm sure we'll see Sydney Remington at one point off the bench. Remington, one of the star freshmen for a young Catamount squad. Vermont has had lots of injuries in those midfield spots. Tessa Weiss has been out for the last 5 games. Bailey Ayer missed the midweek against Hartford. And Alyssa Oviedo after playing the first 4 games of the year. There's a shot that, again, Murphy able to grab on the test from Lausius. Second save in the last few minutes for Murphy. But with the loss of Alyssa Oviedo, Tessa Weiss, who played up in that attacking midfield spot off the bench often, and potentially no Bailey Ayer today, although Ayer did go through warm-ups and looks to be at least relatively healthy. We'll see how Vermont does with Constant and Wallace with Remington as reinforcements. Bossert working hard on Mila Schneider, but Schneider does the job defending. Noble headed to the corner flag, but it's a throw-in. Noble and Bossert working 2-on-2. Oviedo knocked it off of Berta Speck. And another throw-in for Vermont and Noble. This is a game that's very important for the Catamounts here at home. They've struggled at home on the year, coming off their first home win of the season. In a massive conference matchup today, Maine amongst the leaders in the conference, Vermont jockeying, trying to make the playoffs and have a chance to defend their title. Ross pressuring Morrison, shrugs Morrison off the ball. And now Doherty feeling the heat of Tegan Morrison. He took a deflection off of Morrison as well, and Doherty can have the throw. The top 6 teams in the America East out of 9 total squads make the conference tourney. The top 2 seeds receive a bye, while seeds 3 and 4 get to host the first round action against the 5th and 6th seeds. Another deep defensive throw for Vermont. As it stands now, the Catamounts tied for 7th, out of the playoff picture with just 2 points through 4 conference games. Vital that Vermont finds their first conference win. They've got 2 road games against New Hampshire and NJIT coming up soon. Oviedo the clearance away from Lausius. And then the Catamounts have just 1 home game remaining after today. They finished their season against UAlbany here at Virtue Field. So time dwindling for the Catamounts to rack up points. Low shot from Kramer, blocked by Doherty. Morrison, and it's a point to the spot as Lausius went down. Doherty takes her to the floor, and it's a penalty kick for the Black Bears. In her first career start, Julie Lausius, the Norwegian international, placing the ball on the spot, and it will actually be Kramer to take the penalty after Lausius got fouled. Kramer, 1-for-1 converting penalties on the year. The sophomore Kramer, who led the team with 5 goals last year. She's got 2 to her name this season. On Murphy, and it's Kramer into the corner. Maine takes advantage of an early penalty kick in the 14th minute. It's Kramer's 3rd goal of the year, 2nd from the penalty spot, and Vermont will be playing from behind. The pressure was mounting, and there was not much Murphy could do about that take from Abby Kramer. A very strong shot into the corner. And now it's Cronin who has to be forced into defending with the ball along the sideline with Emma Schneider advancing forward. Constant. In Bossert's direction. And now it's Lausius on the drive. She gets by Cronin, guides it down the sideline towards Kramer. And a foul called on the Black Bears. And good news for Vermont fans, Bailey Ayer getting set to check in. A star freshman last season. Ayer has struggled with injuries a bit this year, coming off the bench for the first time all season today. They could really use some offensive production from Ayer and her ability to drive at opponents, really dribbling with the ball, and she can carry it. She's waiting to come in off the bench at the moment. And another soft foul, this time going against the Catamounts, and it's a free kick for New Hampshire. Again, it will be Holly Rogers to take the set piece. She'll provide service from this vantage point. It falls for Abby Kramer. Murphy down to her right. Watched it wide. And now here comes Bailey Ayer in the game for Nikki Constant. Murphy had the near post covered on that drive from Kramer. But Abby Kramer, who also leads the team in shots taken, not shy about letting one rip. Let's see what impact Bailey Ayer has. Now partnering with Karen Wallace in that attacking midfield spot. First ball for Noble. Into a mess of bodies. Jaslyn Oviedo can shield. And Maine really upping their press. This high press causing some Vermont fits at the moment. Knocked away from Kramer by Durio. There's Ayer diving in for a tackle on Bamford. Kramer. Tracking back is Gaines at right back. Rogers floats one way up in the air. Kramer challenges Durio, and now Kramer nods it in Lausius' direction. Again, it's Durio the header. Lausius takes a left-footed swing, and Vermont clears their line for Ayer. The Catamounts have been unable to get their counterattack going as well. Now Durio down on the challenge from Donovan. It's a Vermont throw-in. Doherty has been forced into quite a few of these deep in the defensive half. And it falls to the feet of Speck. Gaines. Right along the edge of the 18. Again, Oviedo struggles to get the boot through it. You wonder if that right leg injury is just providing a bit of trouble for Jaslyn Oviedo, who has been a very strong defensive player for the Catamounts in the midfield next to Lainey Ross. But that's a few times today. Just hasn't looked quite herself trying to clear the ball. Clearly still feeling the effects. Ayer. She gets shrugged off by Donovan, and now Oviedo drags it back. But a heavy touch from Oviedo allowed the challenge to come in from Lausius. Fortunate bounce for Vermont that it comes to Cronin. Wallace. The Catamounts just have no time when they get on the ball. She was looking for Noble, but Wallace ran out of room. This Maine press is impressive. Noble. It's a Catamount throw for Noble. Before Noble could take it quickly, Sydney Remington will join Bailey Ayer from the Catamount sideline. She gets Karen Wallace. And now Noble the throw in. Bossert This time it's knocked out by Emma Schneider. Vermont methodically working it down the sideline. Bossert, Oviedo, her first time cross deflected. And Cronin flicks it away from Donovan, but Noble not quite able to keep it in along the sideline. Ross goes all the way back to Murphy. Lausius, Emma Schneider, steps right by Remington. There's Bailey-Air in just a bit of space. Quickly, though, Berta Speck over in front of her. Tried to get the left-footed ball in towards Remington. Bossert also waiting in the middle. The last few minutes, better for Vermont. They've had a bit more possession. Still uncomfortable possession, though. Brody's first-time pass, an awkward one that Speck controls. But again, another Catamount throw. This game just being played along either sideline at the moment. Remington, Doherty on the ground, Ayers touch, lets her down. It's Gaines. Kramer. Well worked to Bamford. More space in the midfield for Maine right now. Oviedo does well to knock it away from Lausius. Noble looking deep. Bossert late coming over. Kudzinski quickly back in play for Emma Schneider. Closed down with Noble and Remington. That was off of a Black Bear, so they keep it in play. Mila Schneider finds her sister. It's cut out by Bamford. Down the line towards Kramer. Another Catamount cough up. Julie losses. Oviedo, a good challenge. She knocks it away. Noble looking to spin by Schneider. Remington challenging Bamford. Lausius finds Emma Schneider. Chested down by Kramer. And Bamford, she's been all over the ball recently. Gaines, first time flick. Looking for Kramer. Durio, I think, tapped that back towards Murphy, who then had to play it with her feet. Now Morrison on her left foot. Steps over as Durio dragged out wide. And Durio did well defending. Olivia White in for the first time today. She'll change with Abby Noble, and it looks like stay out wide. Jordan Panette coming in for the Black Bears, as is Delaney Labont. And in it, striker Sailor Clark. Clark, a graduate student captain. And Clark, the team leader in goals, is now atop their formation. She's played in every game coming off the bench, but has scored 6 goals to lead the team through 11 games. Number 26 in blue. All of a sudden, a big-time target. There she is, Sailor Clark. Turns well around Durio. It's Clark in on goal, and Durio recovers well. Murphy comes clattering out and claims the ball. What a recovery from Natalie Durio. It looked like Clark had the step, and Durio inside the 18 challenged, needed to win the ball and did. Vermont already giving up one penalty kick today. And Durio won it cleanly. Great defending by the graduate student captain of the Catamounts, second team all-conference last season for her. Durio again, very aware of where Clark is. Doherty, Ross, and Vermont brings it back under control. The Catamounts still without a shot in today's game, but they're finding their ground in the midfield. That's a great ball by Jaslyn Oviedo for the fresh legs in Olivia White. She guides it across the 18, but Remington was making a run forward. Air races over trying to tackle it, but it's Emma Schneider. She's got time, her sister Mila Schneider. Beyond Ross, and it's touched by the hand of Sailor Clark, so the Catamounts will get it back. Both teams coming off 1-0 shutout wins. This Black Bears defense was strong last year. They're also improved from a year ago, allowing just 0.8 goals against so far this year through their 11 games played.
Into the game for Maine, number 3, Amanda Sandberg, replacing number 24, Susanna Gaines.
The Catamounts bring on Denali Tontini at the back for Durio. And to change at right back for Maine as they bring on Amanda Sandberg. She's actually playing the left back spot, sliding over to the right side, Emma Schneider, and Susanna Gaines subbed off. Both benches growing increasingly frustrated with our referee crew. Just under 20 minutes remaining. Brody able to win the ball, but not for long. It's Emma Schneider who rocked it back forward. Air finds her classmate Cronin. Bossert was offsides. Lainey Ross wins the first ball, a big header, nudged forward by Air, played back by Labonte. There's Emma Schneider. Clark lays it off, Labonte. It's now Labonte working in the midfield with Bamford as Speck to the sideline. Panette now on the right wing. She's pressuring. That pass behind Clark, and it does find Tontini. Denali Tontini anchored the defense for Vermont in the midweek without Durio. Remington angles one in Bossert's direction. She timed to run better, but the ball reaches Kutsinski. Olivia White tackles that away from Lausius. Jaslyn Oviedo marching forward. Bossert was leaking again. The pass never reached her though. On the ground, and Julie Lausius racing away from White. Angling still towards the middle, Lausius steps over. White gets a challenge in. Oviedo throws a left leg at it. Amanda Sandberg. Sailor Clark with Cronin working hard, and it is Clark who commits a foul on the sophomore Cronin. Back in play with Ross. And it's Ross again who rips it away from Labonte. Lainey Ross, a big part of what this Catamount team trying to accomplish. The junior who has been a regular in the starting lineup for the better part of 3 seasons. At times she's missed her partner from a year ago, the conference's midfielder of the year, Ella Bankert. It was Ross and Bankert last year who were stalwarts in helping the Catamounts control games. And that's a poor pass from Cronin. Luckily, it skips by Jordan Panette and got to Doherty. Ross opens up. Air. Square ball comes out wide for Olivia White. Vermont controlling possession, but playing from behind. Long ball through for Remington. Kutzinski, first time clearance, straight up in the air. It's brought down by Donovan. Easily wide to Panette. Brody recovering defensively and is able to get good body positioning and win the ball back. Doherty. But Panette slides it back for Clark. Back it comes for Donovan. Murphy sliding to her right, able to pick it up. Just one official save so far for Murphy. 2 shots on goal out of the now 7 taken by Maine. And it's Panette. Stops on a dime. The pass behind everybody, forcing Lossius to come sideways. And now pumped out wide from Labonte. The left back getting forward, Sandberg. Early ball across. Tontini wins the defensive header. Panette picks it back up, and a shot comes from distance. Murphy, a little bit of a bobble. Labonte flicked one towards the right side of Murphy's cage, but she is able to range over and stop it. That is the second save of the day for Murphy. And a corner kick earned by the Black Bears. Panette did well against Doherty. And now Vermont with a few changes, or one change, a few changes for Maine. Olivia Bammel coming on. So is Maria Lowe as Donovan steps out. Cronin off for the Catamounts as Kaylee Kreutzer checks in. She'll play right back along with Tontini and Doherty. Left-footed in-swinger this time on the ball across to the edge of the 18. Oviedo stabs it down. It's Bamford who tries the drive, took a deflection, and Tontini angles it wide again. Bamford's the one who's there. Knocked out off of a Catamount with Sandberg collecting. Panette. Kreutzer, who's ranged all the way to the far side, surrenders a throw-in. The Catamounts still yet to register a shot. Maine up to 8 shots. The field has been relatively tilted throughout this first half. Vermont without anything in the direction of Kira Kutzinski. Sandberg. Oviedo gets the block in, but it just comes right back to the feet of Sandberg. And this time it's Ross who gets the block in. But again, Bamford picks it up. Panette looking to cross with the right foot, puts it low. It took a deflection and another corner kick coming up. Amanda Sandberg trotting over to provide the service. As Maine now searching for their second goal of the day. Through 4 conference games, they've got wins against UMBC and New Albany. Sandberg the cross to the edge of the 18. It was Maine who won the ball. It's still loose, but in the end, Clark puts it out for a goal kick.
Good job, Sailor.
Holly Rogers won the header, and a relative free header, in fact.
Hey.
Tontini. And that was Doherty, and it does find Bossert. She's a good hold up forward. But again, the Catamounts struggling. As soon as they get within the main half of the field, they've just turned it over time and time again. Oviedo, the block on Clark. And there's Remington. White. White can drive, going at Sandberg. Down the line for Remington. Out of play from Mila Schneider. And now more Catamount substitutions. Here's Tessa Weiss back on for the first time in 5 games. Good to see Tessa Weiss back. She's a different attacking option. And now Bailey Ayre will go out wide. A spot where she played a lot last season as a wide player. Tessa Weiss will partner in the middle of the field with Remington. And now it's Remington. She got it from Bossert on a good flick. Remington across, and Kutzinski down to her right. That's as dangerous as the Catamounts have looked today, forcing Kutzinski to play the ball. A wet day from Burlington, Vermont. We're definitely going to be watching the keepers handle the ball closely today. Just a bit of extra moisture could provide some challenges. Kreutzer. Olivia White challenging Clark. And Labonte goes out wide. It's Emma Schneider. Weiss, the sophomore from Brooklyn, New York, for Ayre. Weiss goes down, but now Bailey Ayre in a wide area gets held up and fouled. Already a bit more positive since the last changes of Weiss with Remington and Ayres. I like Bailey Ayre moving out wide. That's where she did most of her work last season when she assisted on 4 Catamount goals, picked up 1 tally of her own. I think if Vermont can use her in an out wide area, I really like that spot for Ayre. She's talented enough to play in the center as well, but I think most dangerous from a wingback spot. Now it's Remington on the hunt, providing pressure on Schneider and earning a throw-in, in fact, for the Cats. Lauren DeGroot, the newest Catamount to check in, another freshman. She is the striker who's coming on for Kate Bossert. Inside the final, just about inside the final 9 minutes of the opening 45. Since the penalty kick goal from Abby Kramer, Vermont holding their own against one of the top teams in the conference so far. Panette feels the pressure, and there's Tori Snyder's first touch. Ayre working hard, couldn't win it back. Labonte comes to Bamford. It's Weiss stabbing in, and Bamford asked for the foul and got it. A whistle-happy first half. There has not been a lot of contact that our referee has let go today. Not exactly a physical battle so far. Very touchy between these two sides. A bit nervy as well. To the near post, Murphy comes out and punches it. She and Snyder there. A shot goes well wide with the Catamount keeper down. Labonte tried her luck. Tontini, Snyder, and Murphy were all in that area. And Murphy did do enough to control her box, although Tontini looked like she might have been a bit shaken up after that punch. White. DeGroot. And Tessa Weiss. Can she flip the field? Finds Ross. That's well done from the Catamounts working out of the back. And it's flipped to Bailey Ayre, who's got Emma Schneider in front. Forward for Remington. She's dragging Holly Rogers over. Rogers got the tackle in. It's a Catamount throw. And this one goes off of DeGroot, so Schneider can throw for Maine. These Black Bears unbeaten in their last 3. 2 wins, 1 tie in that mix. There are occurrences of this Maine defense giving up some high-scoring games. They allowed 3 goals and a loss to Quinnipiac. One of only 2 losses they've had all year. Allowed 2 goals against UMBC. Those are the only times, though, this season where they've allowed more than 1 goal. Now it's Lauren DeGroot who's showing off her speed. Challenging Kutzinski. She gets the block in. Can she get on the ball? Challenges, but it's Kutzinski who sweeps it away. Lauren DeGroot, the freshman, just provided a big spark to the Catamount bench. They really rose up when she got that block on Kutzinski's challenge. And you could see the speed there of DeGroot. Timed to run well and pulled away from the defense. again, the Catamounts looking more positive towards Weiss, but airs past, just not quite the exact angle looking for. And now Tessa Weiss runs into the brick wall of Holly Rogers. Ross forced backward by Labonte. Snyder could not get it away quickly enough. It comes to Olivia Bammel, but Jaslyn Oviedo's there, and there's a physical play with Bammel holding her up. The Catamounts bench asking for a card. They understandably think that prevented a pretty surefire counterattack. I think if we see another one of those from Maine, then the card might come out. Kreutzer just puts it back on the ground for Murphy. DeGroot on the half turn. Just got a bit confused and played it for Bamford all the way back to Kutsinski. And here's Air in a good space. Bailey Air trying to cut back along the 18. Ball up in the air, comes to Tessa Weiss. Weiss skipping away from Emma Schneider. She gets a left-footed cross to the near post. It's DeGroot. It is a goal kick as DeGroot got the touch on it last. The changes, though, from Christy Huizenga's coaching staff. The bench really making an impact. Weiss, DeGroot, Remington, Olivia White, Bailey Air. It's the whole attacking unit. In fact, the only starters still on the field for Vermont, the two midfielders, Oviedo and Ross, with Murphy. They've got 8 bench players, all 5 in the attack, and all 3 defenders have come off the bench. Kreutzer tries to play it towards DeGroot. She does get a toe in. That's well controlled by Lauren DeGroot. Really had no business winning that ball, but hustled to it and won it. Schneider. Tori Snyder shielded the ball, and it comes to Ross. She wants to flip the field, but Oviedo could not control the pass. It's Bammel for Clark. Sailor Clark on her left foot, low drive across. Murphy had it watched well. Good positioning from Erin Murphy that time. Never really tested her goal, but she was able to guide it across just in case. It's interesting, this unit out on the field right now, they were the group that really played a lot against Hartford. Outside of Bailey Air and Tessa Weiss, who did not play in that game, it was this trio at the back of Kreutzer, Tontini, and Snyder. Not the 3 starters of Cronin, Durio, and Doherty. And in the attack, we saw a lot of Remington, DeGroot, and Olivia White. You add Bailey Air and Tessa Weiss to that mix, this is a pretty solid young attack that the Catamounts have going. Almost all freshmen and sophomores in the attack. But it is Maine leading and once again controlling the ball. But not for long as the Hawaiian Kreutzer steps forward but coughs it back up. It finds the feet of Sailor Clark. Denali Tontini defending. Bamford around the challenge from Ross. Weiss helping out. It's Holly Rogers. She can pick out a pass. Oviedo, a strong defensive header. Labonte for Schneider. Splits the Catamount defenders to her sister Mila. And it's Amanda Sandberg. Bammel with Kreutzer on her back. Remington checking back. Over the top the ball comes. I think Remington got a piece of it. And now to Lainey Ross. Forward for DeGroot. She's dragging Mila Schneider out of position. Weiss conservatively back for Snyder inside the final minute and 45 seconds of the opening half. After the first 20 minutes or so were dominated by Maine, Vermont has settled in. Jaslyn Oviedo, a good turn. She in particular has really found good spots in the midfield, and it's Lauren DeGroot. DeGroot beats Rogers, still DeGroot. Tries to guide it back for Tessa Weiss. The pass was there, just couldn't find the right weight on it. certainly more positive for Vermont recently. We've now taken 2 shots, 1 on goal, forcing the 1 save from Kira Kutsinski. And it's a Vermont throw-in for Krutzer. Trying to go quickly for Weiss, and it's over Oviedo's head. Now Kaylee Krutzer ranging over and drops it to her center back, Denali Tontini. White, inside the final minute. You don't want to make a mistake here and be down by more than 1 at the break. But let's see if Vermont and its youngsters can push the attack. DeGroot on the through ball from Remington, a heavy touch. Out comes Kutsinski. It's still loose with Weiss pouncing on it, but the ball is stopped on the whistle from the referee as it was a heavy challenge by DeGroot on Kutsinski. DeGroot was clearly trying to play the ball. I think Kutsinski got there first, and Lauren DeGroot is shown a yellow card. That's great hustle, though, from Lauren DeGroot. It's a card from aggression, which I have to imagine you'd rather have a card like that than one out of frustration. Kutsinski shaken up on the play. It was certainly a physical challenge from Lauren DeGroot. No denying that. But it accomplished what she wanted. She knocked the ball free, and Tessa Weiss had an open goal. If she's a split second earlier, doesn't catch Kutsinski first, this game could be even inside the last minute. I think the changes that Vermont's coaching staff has made, in particular DeGroot and Weiss, have changed the complexion of this game. After the first 8 shots of the game belonged to the Black Bears, the last 15 or so minutes have belonged to the Catamounts. And now Maine, who are leading and in control still, despite the recent bit of a turn in complexion. 30 seconds, they're looking for a go-ahead or a insurance tally even on top of it. Good help from Tori Snyder coming in to knock the ball away from Maria Lowe. Labonte, Oviedo defending. And now it's put a cross on the ground with Weiss coming back to help out as Bammel try to get the cross away. Final 5 seconds of the half. And there's the horn. It's Maine 1, Vermont nothing on a penalty kick goal for Abby Kramer, but the Catamounts fought back well, almost evening the score late inside the first overtime, so a goal for Vermont would be a big boost. Sydney Remington stays in the game after coming off the bench, and that bumps Bailey Ayer to the wide left-hand side. Kaylee Krutzer, also in off the bench midway through the first half, remains in at right center back. That's Krutzer there, the freshman, along the back 3 for Vermont in their 3-4-3 formation. Krutzer quickly wide to Abby Noble as we're underway in the second 45. That's Remington who gets the ball from Wallace. Knocked away by Berta Speck defensively, who returns after getting substituted out midway through the first half. Kramer back in the game up top. Emma Donovan with Tegan Morrison and Julie Lausius also all return after getting substituted midway through the first. New Hampshire with their starters back in there. They operate in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Here's Speck, now Donovan. The runner is Lausius, and it's squeezed through beautifully. Julie Lausius on her left foot, turning the corner, and Durio recovers. Natalie Durio with really her second or third great recovery play of the game. She's got good pace for a center back. Did well after the beautiful through ball came from Donovan towards Lausius. It's surprising that Emma Donovan, who operates as the number 10 central attacking midfielder in this Maine formation, she does not have a point yet this year. Scored twice, assisted on 1 goal last season. Here's Donovan. To the right-sided center back, Holly Rogers. Her pass cut out by Jaslyn Oviedo. The pass behind Karen Wallace after Rogers provided pressure, and it comes to Hannah Bamford. She's the maestro of the midfield for the Black Bears. Julie Lausius has to angle away from the goal, now faces up. Cross gets around Krutzer. Ross gets the first touch, and Durio the clearance. Noble. Now the Catamounts looking to break. Long ball forward. Bossert tracking back, but her pass a poor one. Donovan picks it up. Over the top from Susanna Gaines. Lausius shielding Noble. The dropped ball pumped towards Murphy's goal. There's Gaines getting up in the attack. It deflected off of Bailey Ayer, and Murphy pounces on it. Murphy made 2 first half saves. It's a throw in for the Catamounts after Speck and Remington battled along the sideline. Doherty looking long for Bossert. Chasing after Rogers and Mila Schneider. Schneider pretty conservatively just knocked it out of bounds for a Bailey Air throw-in. Bossert, the Catamount leading goal scorer. Does she have a game tire in her? Tried to swing the ball towards Noble, but it's cut out by Amanda Sandberg. Sandberg staying in the game at left back, the lone substitute who remains in the game after halftime for the Black Bears. Looking for Abby Kramer down the line. She's trying to turn the corner on Durio, but a heavy touch. Durio guides the ball out for a Murphy goal kick. We have not seen today Abby Kramer's older sister, Kayla Kramer, the team leader with 3 assists on the season. It's the first time all season that Kramer not in the starting lineup for Maine. She also did not appear throughout that first half. So one of their normal attacking members not in the lineup today. Julie Lausius replacing her in the starting 11. This is Lausius, the first career start for the freshman. She's driving through a right-footed shot. Murphy easily watches it go wide and will have another goal kick. First touch for Remington, but Susanna Gaines, the right back, pounces. Ross pressuring. Remington a tackle. Still Gaines, but it comes to Bailey Air. Again, the pass gets away from Bossert, but Ross. Doherty coming over. Launches towards Kate Bossert. Over her head, the head won by Holly Rogers. Speck. Bamford forced all the way back. Good pressure from the Catamounts attacking trio. Oviedo couldn't bring it down. Speck, a great through ball for Tegan Morrison. And Morrison might be in on goal. Air chasing from behind. Morrison the shot and Murray the save. Erin Murphy did not have to move in a strong right palm. Brought the ball down to the floor and she controlled it. Third save of the day for Murphy. Noble, she's got room to carry it. Early off of her foot to Bossert. Bossert working on Mila Schneider. It's a Catamount throw-in with the work of Bossert. And Sydney Remington, her turn to drive. Remington on the dribble. Still Remington weaving through the defense. Back for Lainey Ross. She picks out Bailey Air, who can really rip it with the right foot. Air on the cutback. It's Bailey Air, a drive. Took a deflection and goes out wide. Oh, that definitely got deflected and the referee missed it. Here's a look at the replay with Air. She cuts back. And you can see it change direction midway through the air. That should have been a corner kick for the Catamounts. Great look from our production crew. Pretty clearly a corner there for the Catamounts. Vermont yet to have a corner today. That would have been their first. They could really use a set piece. Even with the deflection, Air was almost able to curl it into the corner. Oviedo. Pressured from behind, and right as the ball was swung forward by Remington, the foul is called. Durio trying to pick out Wallace. Couldn't get the flick to it. Jaslyn Oviedo steps to the ball. Still Jaslyn Oviedo the shot, and Kutsinski gobbles it up. But again, Vermont with much more pressure than they had through the majority of the first half. Just their second shot on target. Jaslyn Oviedo did well to bounce her way through the middle of the field. Now Doherty stepping inside. Squeezes it through for Oviedo. Looking for Bossert. Rogers thunders it clear. Kramer clatters into Jaslyn Oviedo, and now Remington. She's got options, guides it through for Kate Bossert. Bossert on her left foot, evens the score. It's Kate Bossert. Her 6th of the year, and the Catamounts equalize. The ball from Remington. Bossert picked out the space, and the left-footed shot went right through the wickets of Kira Kutsinski. We felt the tide turn midway through the first half after Maine dominated the opening 30 minutes. Some changes from the Catamount coaching staff, adding on the likes of Sydney Remington. Kaylee Krutzer as well in the mix. Moving Bailey Ayer out wide. And they kind of changed the momentum a bit. Now I know many like momentum, it's a bit of a made-up term. Does momentum actually exist? Well, Vermont found their footing at worst. And now they've got the score tied after a strong start to the second half. The Catamounts and Maine are even. And now it's game on. 3 points up for grabs. Conference rivals, Maine and Vermont. A change from the Catamounts off their goal. Tori Snyder on it left back, where she had a strong first half off the bench. And again, it's Sydney Remington, the fiery freshman, stepping right inside. Gaines wins the header. Oviedo again in a physical challenge. And the ball through for Bossert again. Kate Bossert. The flag is up. Bossert put it in the back of the net, but it's offsides on the Catamount senior. And that play happened directly in front of the Catamount bench. And now for the second time in a few minutes, they are frustrated. You can see Wallace play the ball in behind. Wow, that's close. Tough to tell from our vantage point. Bossert tried her best to hold the run. She was offsides a handful of times in the first half. Again, she had Kira Kutsinski beaten. All of a sudden, Kate Bossert and this Catamount attack looking dangerous. Krutzer the challenge, and it's Abby Kramer going the other way. Durio knocks it aside, and Noble clears the ball. This game opening up, folks. Both defenses looking stretched. Now here's Kramer turning the corner. Durio out wide, cross towards Morrison. Snyder defending, shot put just wide. Tegan Morrison, the most recent scoring chance. Back and forth. Two offenses that do have big-time firepower, all of a sudden really in rhythm. Wallace receives the ball from Murphy off the goal kick. This is Lausius, but no, it's Noble. Again, looking for Kate Bossert. First touch ball. Remington gets deflected. She gets taken down. And the Catamounts again don't get the call they want. That one might have been incidental, but the ball finds the feet of Noble. She's got Aaron Remington waiting in the middle. Abby Noble dancing on her right. The cross gets blocked, and now there's the Catamount first corner of the day for sure.
UVM Athletics welcome all the alumni, parents, and friends who are here for UVM weekend to Catamount Country. With a special welcome.
Durio will head forward to take the corner. Bossert, obviously a big target at 5'11". Outside of Kira Kutsinski, she's the biggest player out there. It's towards Bossert. Kutsinski got the punch to it. Just enough of a deflection from the main keeper. Again, Kira Kutsinski in this defense allowing under a goal per game this year. They've only allowed more than one goal in a contest twice. Snyder will take the throw from her left center back spot. It's Remington who's been all over the place. But the ball won by the Black Bears, and Abby Kramer on the charge. She's got Lausius running off to her left, Morrison arriving on the right-hand side. Kramer spots her, out for Tegan Morrison, dragging out Tori Snyder, and Snyder gets the block in. Good recovery by Snyder, but she does surrender a Black Bear corner. End to end, truthfully right now. Both teams can smell the full 3 points. Maine looking for their second straight win in conference. Vermont winless in the conference this season. A win would all of a sudden catapult them right into the thick of the playoff picture. Up from her left back spot, it's Amanda Sandberg to take the corner kick. Towards the back post, free header there for the rising center back Holly Rogers. unable to guide it towards the target. But that is exactly the type of chance you're looking for if you're Maine off a corner, a free header for one of your talented attackers. Rogers with a pair of goals from her center back spot this season. Remington, pass behind Wallace. Sandberg tracks back from taking that corner. And a big touch. Wallace, a rash challenge, advantage played. We might come back to revisit that challenge from Wallace. She's getting a talking to. She went for the ball, but did not win any. Honestly, that could have been a card on Karen Wallace, to be frank. But just a talking to from our referee. Only one booking so far today. That's Lauren DeGroot for her challenge on Kira Kutsinski late in the first half. Noble skipping across the end line. Abby Noble dipping into her bag with the scissor move. Challenges to win the ball back. Mila Schneider has to retreat and gives up the corner. The goal scorer, Bossert. Lossius up the field for Kramer. Good work defending by Kaylee Kreutzer. And a quick change made by the Black Bears after giving up the game-tying goal.
Into the game for Maine,
Delaney
number
Labonte
16, Delaney
checking in for
Labonte.
Emma Donovan.
Number 9,
That will
Emma
allow Berta Speck to move forward in the field. She's now the number 10. Speck, a talented distributor. 3 goals, 2 assists for her this year. Speck, who spent her time at the club level in Germany playing for FFC Frankfurt, pardon me. They're in the Bundesliga Division II level. A talented player now moving up the pitch. But Vermont continues to get into their attack. They lose out for a throw in here. And it's Vermont to throw in coming. More changes on the horizon for Maine as they can feel this game shifting a touch. Oviedo there to disrupt the pass from Sandberg, but she gets in the way of Remington's ball. Abby Kramer picks it back up, but a poor touch from her. She's frustrated. And they're playing on despite the horn after Maine was trying to sub. It's the Catamounts who had the throw in. Kreutzer gets bumped, stays on her feet. I like that. Oh, no, they're going to come back and call it a foul. It's just going to compliment the ref for a no call there, but any shove like that has been whistled often today. It's a free kick for Vermont just inside their attacking half. Durio will try to put one. No, she won't try to put one into the box. Just plays it short for Kreutzer. Now Durio on the advance. Here comes the ball forward. First touch for Wallace, but it's a heavy one. And Kramer gets away from Kreutzer, who was caught in between. Vermont's defense is stretched. Morrison running on the far side. Kramer chops it back, maneuvers around Ross. Kramer the shot. Murphy has the answer. Down to her left, it's Erin Murphy. 5th save of the day. A strong performance, the only goal she's allowed off a penalty kick. And now Vermont pushing numbers forward once again with Murphy ready to bomb one up into the atmosphere. It floats over Wallace. The ball won by Bamford. Noble checking inside. How about that turn? And certainly a foul call there on Julie Lossius. Snyder. Remington getting away from Morrison. Wallace. Bamford on her back. Karen Wallace outside of the foot feed, and here comes Bailey Air again. Air wants the cut back. She's got it. It's Air. Chops it in, and on the run, Remington lays it back for Wallace. Pretty link-up play there from the Catamounts. Good defending from Maine. Again, Air, Lainey Ross. Numbers at the back post. Ball is in that direction. Noble first time off the crossbar. Abby Noble looking for her first career goal.
Into the game for Maine,
on the feed from Lainey Ross. How about this ball? On a dime from Ross, and Noble inches away. The Vermont attack is building confidence. You can feel it in the way Air is linking up with Remington. Wallace in there as well with Bossert, an ever-present target. A young Vermont team, for the first time in a while, I think, feeling really positive about their play in conference play. It's a Vermont throw-in as they'll substitute again. Nikki Constant, a starter in her first start in 3 years, returning to the attacking midfield. She'll get Remington. A tireless shift for the freshman Sydney Remington. Tied for the conference lead with 3 assists on the year. Actually now leading the conference with her 4th assist of the season today. Oviedo, she's really grown into this game. Bossert for Constant. Her first action, she's coming back in. And it's Air again with the New Hampshire defense stretched. Air to the end line, left-footed ball back across. Claims for a handball by the Catamount bench. It's clattered out by Holly Rogers, and the Catamounts have a corner.
For your Catamounts, number 12, Jill Brody.
Have I been saying New Hampshire? Thank you. It's Maine. My apologies. I know it's Maine. The Black Bears of Maine. Pardon me, folks. That's my mistake. It's a Catamount goal corner kick with Maine defending. Tied at 1. Out to Lainey Ross. That ball takes a deflection. Constant flicks it on and cleared off the goal line. Amanda Sandberg, a very important clearance. Now Air. Off the bench. Sailor Clark after it, with Snyder winning the ball. Wallace, Sandberg. Olivia Chalifo off the bench. That's Chalifo who crashes into Oviedo. And again, a free kick for the Catamounts. Durio plays the long ball. Wallace wins the flick. There's Bossert, tried to usher one towards the goal. Bamford takes a shove from behind. It's Oviedo looking for Constant, and the ball pops free to Ross. She was trying to swing it for Noble. Lainey Ross tried to go wide for Air, but the pass had too much zip to it. Out for a Maine throw-in.
Into the game for
Emma
number
Schneider
4,
returning. She's on it right back for
replacing
Susanna
number 24,
Gaines.
Susanna Gaines.
Snyder wins the header on the defensive throw-in for Maine. And there's Chalifo. Krutzer getting dragged all the way across the field. Now backs off. Ross coming in, had good positioning. And Chalifo, a heavy touch, lost out to Snyder. But back from Speck. Air gets the pickup, and Bailey Air racing away. Down the line for Bossert. Bossert and Rogers. Out by Haley Rogers. And again, Vermont will throw. Snyder checks out as Fiona Doherty back in the game. Denali Tontini in for Natalie Durio at center back.
For your Catamounts, number 27, Denali Tontini.
It's Bailey Air.
Replacing number 21,
Chips one
Emily
towards the
Durio.
far post over Wallace.
And number 25,
Now Wallace
Fiona
for
Doherty,
Noble.
replacing number 5, Tori
Noble able to turn. Still Jill Brody, who's just come back in the game for the Catamounts. Kira Kutzinski. 2 saves for her on the day. An awkward clearance from her, and it gets by Emma Schneider. Air for Constant. Jaslyn Oviedo does well to lasso it in. Shrugs off one defender. Constant tried to outlet it wide. And the ball in the midfield, Lainey Ross is there before Berta Speck. Jill Brody. Sandberg closed her down. Wallace dragging out Mila Schneider. Schneider clears it. It's a Vermont throw-in. Maine definitely defending much more in this second half than they had to the entirety of the first. Vermont now up to 7 shots on the day, 5 of them in the second 45. Brody could not squeeze it back for Oviedo. Now the long ball in Saylor Clark's direction. Tontini took a touch. Probably should have just played it first time. Clark reverses course, has runners on either side. Drops it back for Speck. Berta Speck swings it to the near side where it's brought down by the right back Schneider. Clark with Tontini defending. Clark, and offsides called. It was put over the bar regardless on Jordan Panett. Through the opening 30 minutes, I thought there was a chance that Maine might run away with this one. But Vermont responded. Now they've got it even. And 3 points are up for grabs today from Virtue Field. Oviedo again on the half turn, able to beat Speck. Looking long for Jill Brody. Racing over is Mila Schneider. And again, Schneider just has to usher it out for a throw-in. The wide backs of Maine get very high. Right now, that's Emma Schneider and Amanda Sandberg. They really get up into the attack. And Vermont has found spaces with Ayer, Brody, and Noble in those wide areas. Maria Lowe back in the game for the Black Bears. Tessa Weiss returning for Karen Wallace for the Catamounts. Noble and Lauren DeGroot ready to check back in for the Catamounts. And Brody gets space. Tried to get a cross away, it's blocked. Bossert picks it up, but her drop pass towards Krutzer didn't have enough on it. The long ball, and Saylor Clark receives it. Tontini in front. Maria Lowe with fresh legs racing in behind. Covering is Fiona Doherty, and she angles exactly correct. Bamford wins the ensuing header. But guess who's there? Jaslyn Oviedo. She's been everywhere today. And now Tessa Weiss, freshly back in the game. She goes wide for Brody, and Bossert on the back post with Constant arriving as well. Brody the ball across, and Kutsinski out. She spills it. It's loose, but off the line, Rogers clears it. A wet day at Virtue Fields. There's a foul. Oviedo chops down Olivia Chalifo. We wondered if the wet conditions could have any impact. That was certainly Kira Kutsinski's first real bobble of the day. Now up to 3 saves for her. But a bit nervy on that cross that came in from Brody. As of this moment, it feels like Vermont, the likelier of these two sides to get the go-ahead inside the final 20 minutes and 30 seconds. But Maine very dangerous. This offense that averages 2 goals a game can strike at any moment. Early ball from Brody. Rogers gets it away from Bossert. Mila Schneider into the midfield for Lowe. And back for Amanda Sandberg. Krutzer stepped up to win that ball. Here's Lowe. And along the back, Schneider. Skips the line of play. A long ball that's brought down by the right winger, Panett. She drops it to Rogers. Bossert hustling over, might have gotten a piece of that ball. And Oviedo for Constant. She opens up. Nikki Constant chops it back and puts it in Ross's pass. She finds Ayer. Ayer with many players in front. Give and go, beautifully worked with Kate Bossert. Now 3 defending Bailey Ayer out wide. She gets by 1 and is taken down by another. Clock is stopped as Jordan Panett was in on that tackle, and the yellow card is shown. Good to see Panett give Bailey Ayer a bit of an apology right there, it looked like. First yellow card of the day for any of the Maine Black Bears. And now the Catamounts with a dangerous set piece. Denali Tontini, the center back, is forward looking to provide the service. Vermont, who was trailing by 1. Can they find a go-ahead off this set piece earned by Bailey Ayer? It's Tontini. Low ball to the near post, punched down by Kutsinski. Constant the challenge, and that's going to go against Nikki Constant. And again, it's Kutsinski down. I didn't think there was anything to that constant challenge. Trying to play the ball. It's a foul on Constant for sure. I think maybe the left elbow of Kutsinski there, just into the head inadvertently of Constant after that replay. Kutsinski has certainly taken a beating today. No intent there from Constant for anything more physical than it was. Just two bodies colliding, both making a play on the ball.
Yep.
There's Kutsinski.
A yellow card has been assessed to Vermont number 13, Nikki Constant.
And Nikki Constant hit with the yellow card after all that mess too. That's a surprising one for me. I didn't think there was enough for a yellow card there on Constant. Certainly understood the yellow in the first half on to Groot. I don't really get that one. And now it's Oviedo frustrated after she and Lowe were tangled up. There have been a lot of whistles today. Maine going backwards. Kutsinski away from Bossert. There was some trouble for Kutsinski in the first half with pressure from Lauren DeGroot. And an offsides is called as Olivia Chalifot tried to play that from an offsides position. Tracked back onside after she had meandered behind the back three of Vermont. 3 Catamount substitutions ready to check in. DeGroot, Noble, and Olivia White all prepared to enter. The low ball forward from Tantini, cut out before it could reach Constant. And Jaslyn Oviedo again on the turn. Heavy on that touch though. The turnover for Chalifot. She marches into the attacking half with a back check from Tessa Weiss. Krutzer feeds it back for Weiss. And Chalifot clipped her from behind. And now it's Bamford who will receive a talking to after chipping the ball away. High intensity. A conference matchup, getting late in the season, every point becoming more and more crucial. Good move from Brody. She gets a step on Sandberg. Cross to the middle. Constant goes up for it. It's Nikki Constant! Vermont in front! Constant from Jill Brody. Vermont celebrates the lead after Brody's filthy move along the sideline. Here's the high arcing cross. Constant got good positioning, and at the near post, the Catamounts lead it. After they were dominated for the opening 30 minutes, this Catamount team has battled back to take the lead. And Nikki Constant with the go-ahead goal in her first start in over 3 years. The second career start for the senior Constant. She started her first career game as a freshman in August of 2019. Has not started since then. Back in the starting lineup today, and it's Constant, who may have just given the Catamounts a crucial go-ahead goal. Tessa Weiss into the path of Abby Noble, who's back in the game for Bailey-Air. Olivia White gives Jaslyn Oviedo a breather in the midfield. I tell you what, Jaslyn Oviedo has played a big part today. She has somewhat taken Hannah Bamford out of this game after Bamford was the midfield master of the first half. Still plenty of work to do with Maine obviously now chasing a goal. A team that is unbeaten in their last 3, unbeaten in 4 conference games. They're in a battle for a regular season title as of now, trailing Binghamton by just 1 point in the standings. Now Emma Schneider, she angles inside, closed down by White. Guides it forward for Emma Donovan, who stepped back into the game. Now inside, and Maine has evened the score. Emma Schneider from her right back spot joins the attack, and moments after Vermont took the lead, Maine answers back. Donovan to Schneider, who got the step on Tantini, and an outside of the foot chip to beat Murphy. It is truly game on at Virtue Field. Vermont with 2 second half goals. Maine has now responded with a second half tally of their own. 16:50 remaining. Remember, no overtime anymore in NCAA soccer. We go directly to a draw if tied after a full 90 minutes.
Main goal scored by
Tessa Weiss receives it. Lainey Ross looking forward. It's off the back of Constant. I think that pass was intended for Noble. Good defending from the Black Bears against Schneider. And now Abby Kramer. Room to dance up the sideline. Doherty comes in for the tackle. Back towards Kramer. It's Olivia White down hard on a tackle by Kramer. And a Maine corner kick. Their first corner kick of their second corner kick of the second half.
All seniors at center field. Parents of women's soccer graduating seniors, please meet at the marketing table with 5 minutes left in the game in preparation for the
Sandberg again will take the corner inside the final 16 minutes. Vermont zoning up defensively. Sandberg's corner right to the center spot. It's brought down by Clark, wrestled away from her by Krutzer, still in the mixer, flicked on by Donovan, but well wide of Murphy's target. Murphy has 5 saves on the day. Krutzinski on the other end has made 3 stops. Everyone catch your collective breath. Both teams will make another substitution. Hannah Bamford returning to the action for Maine. And Natalie Durio returns for Denali Tantini for the Catamounts. Bamford coming in the midfield. She checks in for Maria Lowe. Bamford has been vital in her work for the Black Bears today. It's a Catamount throw. They're working it up the right-hand flank with Brody. The assist for Brody on the Constant goal, Brody's first assist of the season. And again, a Catamount throw in deep. Are there more fireworks in store? Brody, her throw in towards Olivia White. Vermont believes that's their throw in. It is not. Brody took it quickly. I think she even let that bounce out of play, anticipating that the flag would go her direction. Instead, it's Sandberg, the international from Sweden. Sandberg looking down the line. That's Olivia White for Vermont and Tessa Weiss. Pass behind Lainey Ross, and Fiona Doherty steps in to pick it back up. Over the top towards Brody. Lauren DeGroot. Weiss splitting defenders, does eventually lose out, and Emma Donovan skipping away right into the path of Kramer. She's got Clark on the far side as all of the big hitters are back in the game for the Black Bears. Away from Constant, collected by Rogers. Durio wins the header away from the ball intended for Clark, but now it's Lossius. Clark, Durio defending. Clark to the near post, swallowed by Murphy. Weiss and Lossius racing towards the sideline, and there's Tessa Weiss scooping it up. Coming in for the tackle is Delaney Labonte, and she finds Sandberg. That pass evades Lossius. Krutzer on the challenge. It's Donovan who scoops it back for Maine. A through ball intended for Kramer, and now Abby Kramer in on target, and Maine's back in front. Abby Kramer's second of the day. She's got a brace and the go-ahead goal with 12:29 to go. After Vermont took the lead, it was Kramer who just got behind Doherty and able to beat Murphy for the go-ahead. And Vermont once again chasing a goal.
Into the game for
Bossert
your
back
Catamounts.
on, as well as Wallace and Oviedo for the Catamounts.
Number 18, Jaslyn Oviedo. And number 24, Karen Wallace.
And now the 3 points back in Maine's grasp.
Main goal scored by number
Ross.
12, Abby Kramer.
Forced backwards, she plays Krutzer. Weiss does well to shield off the defender, Labonte. Oviedo in front of Doherty. Maine packing in defensively now. Lainey Ross. The pass cut out before it could get to Noble by Emma Schneider. Noble's throw in finds Bossert right along the end line. Bossert earns a corner. Sydney Remington getting ready to check back in as Durio will advance to take the corner kick for the Catamounts.
Bryant yesterday 4-0. They're currently ranked 15th in the nation and have won 8 straight. For tickets to their Tuesday match, go to uvmathletics.com.
Durio, an in-swinging ball. Kutsinski got a touch to it, could not control it. Knocked out of her grasp, but it's done well by Maine to clear. Away from Clark, Doherty racing backwards and away from Kramer. Vermont brings it back under control. Jill Brody. Left it for Weiss. Now looking to feed Bossert, headed away by Schneider. And back towards Kramer. Remington returning for Tessa Weiss. Morrison back on in the attacking midfield for Maine. She's on for Julie Lossius.
Into the game for your Catamounts, number 28. Correction, number 10, Sydney Remington, replacing number 20, Tessa Weiss. And in for Maine, number 28, Maria Lowe, replacing number 17, Julie
Off of Bossert, the ball falls for Sydney Remington. Remington loves her right-footed shot. Bossert held her run just enough. Drops it for Brody. Brody, a left-footed ball that didn't have the right angle to it. Out for a goal kick for the Black Bears. Brody's able to rise up and win the ball, and now it's Bossert. She's got to step on Rogers. Rogers plays it backwards. Kutsinski diving for it. That's across the end line. That should be a goal kick, or excuse me, a corner kick.
Fans, please join us next Friday and Saturday, October.
Bailey-Air returns for Jill Brody as Vermont another corner. Still plenty of time to find at least a game tire.
Saturday's game at 3 p.m. Tickets online at uvmathletics.com/tickets.
It's Durio who wastes no time. Bodies flying. Bossert's there. The ball punched back towards midfield by Tegan Morrison. Durio steps around one defender. Clatters into Morrison, who's ranged out. And Morrison just gives up the throw in. Vermont will now try to find their shape inside the final 9. Noble, the target of the throw-in from Oviedo. Out it goes again, and it's Kritzer's turn for throw. Durio. Doherty. Lifts one in Abby Noble's direction. She's switched sides of the field with Ayer returning at the left-hand wing back. It's Morrison skipping away from the Oviedo tackle. She wants to flip it towards Kramer. Doherty brings it down. Kramer on her back. Krutzer tried to connect with Ross, but it's picked off by Emma Donovan towards Kramer. Doherty angles it for Bailey-Air. Wallace on the ground. Lainey Ross has room. Bossert. Flag stays down for the Catamounts striker. She's driving on Holly Rogers. Bossert continues to get towards the end line before Rogers gets the tackle in and wins it Great defending by the captain, Holly Rogers. Donovan. Kramer turning on Lainey Ross. She's got Clark in front. Doherty steps in and gets the ball. And there's Ross right back to scoop it up. Oviedo. Tegan Morrison comes in to win the ball. Clark away from the tackle of Krutzer. Ross trying to wrench it away from Morrison, and it's Doherty again for air. Tried to send it for Remington. The ball finds Labonte. Sandberg. Clark, slide tackle by Krutzer. And Kramer able to get it to Clark. Wallace backtracking, and it's Remington's tackle. All of a sudden, this game lacking real connectivity. Both sides, passes just a bit sloppy. A high-intensity game. It's safe to say, despite both coaches really using their benches often, they could be a bit gassed. Clark racing in behind. Murphy comes out and actually makes the save there. All sorts of contact with Durio, Doherty, and Sailor Clark. Murphy away. Remington and Bamford both go for the header. A foul in that mix. Emma Donovan, the one who was down for Maine.
They're not stopping it.
Mila Schneider. Well worked by the Black Bears. Emma Schneider down into the corner. It's a throw-in for Maine. Olivia Chalifo returning, as is Berta Speck. And Lauren DeGroot looks ready to check back in for one final Catamount push. The DeGroot substitution will wait.
Into the game for Maine.
Emma Schneider the throw-in. Remington
Replacing number 12.
looks to clear, but it's the Black Bears on it. Shot from distance by Labonte, well wide of Murphy. DeGroot coming on for Wallace as Vermont chases a goal. Recently, the Catamounts lost by 1 to UMass Lowell. Also 1 goal losses against Dartmouth, Rhode Island. 3-1 goal losses in total on the year. Noble. Even the tie right now would be massive for Vermont as they are battling just to make the playoffs. They need any point they can get. Running out of room is Morrison, and Vermont will have the throw in. Still 4 minutes and change to work with. Plenty of time to strike, but as it stands, they are being forced back defensively. I mean, what a response by Maine, frankly. After Vermont had 2 thunderous second half goals in which it felt like things had completely swung in their direction, Maine had the answers. After a quick game tire, the through ball for Abby Kramer. Just clinical finishes as well by Kramer and Emma Schneider. It's Maine asking for the foul as Sailor Clark down with Doherty on defense. Bossert too far in front of Noble. And it's a Maine throw-in as Durio could only usher one across the sideline. Oviedo trying to run away from the pack. It's Morrison just headed to the corner flag, looking to kill time. Under 3 minutes remaining, and Vermont needs to get it up the field and in a hurry. And it is out of bounds for a Catamount throw-in. Nikki Constant returns. Sydney Remington will check out. Another Maine throw-in. They've done a great job killing the clock since getting the lead. Oviedo sweeps it into space. Nobody there for Vermont. Lauren DeGroot hustling after it. Again, clattered to the corner flag by Bamford. And it's an offsides called on the Black Bears, so Vermont can hurry the ball up the field inside the final 2 minutes. Constant receives from Murphy, and now Oviedo. Back for Nikki Constant. She does well to bring it down. DeGroot on the stretch. Out for Bailey Air. That's great work from the freshman DeGroot. And now Lainey Ross can play quarterback. She chooses to go to Bailey Air again. Vermont hunting for a game tire. Air skipping on her right foot. It's Bailey Air into the chest. And Kutzinski can belly flop on it. That's exactly the look that Bailey Air wants to get. Angling across the 18 with her right. Kira Kutzinski has her 4th save of the day. None more important than that one. 60 seconds remaining as she boots it up the field. Oviedo won the header. Slashed away by Labonte. Durio comes flying forward. Lainey Ross trying to bring the ball down. She takes a big hit, and the clock will stop as Olivia Chalifaux came clattering into the Catamount star midfielder. 46 seconds remaining. Everybody going forward for Vermont. That's the biggest hit of the day for sure. Vermont confused why that's not a card. I don't necessarily disagree, but that point relatively moot at this moment. They need a goal, regardless of having a card or not. And now, well after the play, Olivia Chalifaux is receiving a talking to. Oh, and she does get a card. That happens well after the play. I don't know why we checked back much later. It was definitely Chalifaux who laid the hit. Durio puts it back in play. Again, Chalifaux goes through Ross, and again the call going against the Black Bears. And Vermont with a set piece with 35 seconds remaining. They'll have to set this up quickly. Durio well within shooting range. Maine is getting their wall set up. Clock still winding. Durio with Air standing near it as well. Air runs over. It's Durio wide. And that's the final rush for the Catamounts. They got a good look. A set piece in the final 30 seconds. 10 seconds to go for Kutzinski. And Maine is going to hold on. The Black Bears win it on the road, 3-2 the final. An intense matchup today from Virtue Field where it swung back and forth. Maine had the early